Today I'm speaking to the incredible Eni Awoyemi, founder of the brand disrupting the floristry market, Feyi Flowers. Eni's journey into floristry is anything but traditional. She made the bold leap into entrepreneurship less than a year into her maternity leave, starting the brand from her mother's shed and turning her home into an Airbnb to fund the venture while supporting her daughter. Through a few incredible strategic decisions, a super sharp social strategy, and her distinctive branding, she's seen incredible growth at such an early stage for her business. It really feels like she's only just beginning, and I cannot wait to chat to her today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. This is amazing.
It's been such a long time coming. We have spoken before and I've been so excited to meet you. So I'm really excited to get into your journey and everything. I want to start at the very beginning. Did you always know that you wanted to run a business?
Absolutely. I've wanted to run a business probably since I was like 1.
Really?
I was a really, really independent child. So I always wanted to do things for myself and also quite rebellious as well. So, my parents wanted me to be like a doctor and a banker, but I wanted to do media. So that's what I did. And they absolutely hated that. So I always kind of wanted to go for my own goals. And I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've actually got about 100 domains that I own. So whenever I have a business idea, I literally just buy a domain, which is absolutely terrible. But I'm like, one day I'll go back to it and then I can actually launch that business. But
I love that.
For as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur.
That's incredible. So you had lots of ideas before you started Feyi?
Yeah, Feyi is not my first rodeo. I've actually had quite a lot of businesses. I've had a lot of side hustles. So I've obviously had full-time employment, but on the side, I've always had a business, always.
And what do you think it is that's made you, I guess, want to have these side hustles and want to start lots of different things, not necessarily knowing which one will be, say, like a big hitter?
I mean, I've always wanted to be my own boss. I think that's what's driven me. Also, my parents, like they were immigrants, so they came to the UK when I was about 9, and I saw them work so, so hard, and I knew that they just instilled that kind of work ethic in me, and I knew that I wanted to be bigger than this.
And I know your journey into floristry wasn't exactly traditional. Can you tell me about the challenges in transitioning from your job in the media to what you're doing now?
Absolutely not traditional at all. My background is in TV and marketing, so most of my days would look like working with big talent and getting them on billboards, making sure that they're at the front of the publications. But floristry is completely different. I'm kind of behind the scenes and I'm making bouquets and I'm running my own team, so really different. And there isn't that job security when you're running your own business, so something that's really, really new for me.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that is a very big change, not just in terms of the job itself, but in terms of kind of when you're looking at your future and you're looking at what do I want this business to be, all of that, it's just such a different landscape from what you were expecting in terms of like this step-by-step TV-based career.
Yeah.
Was there anything that kind of particularly drew you to floristry as a business? Or was it kind of, do you know what? I'm really keen to work for myself now, so I'm just going to make it happen.
Yeah, so, I mean, I became a new mum a few years ago, and I kind of found like I was putting my self-care like really at the back burner, and I wanted a change, which I absolutely love flowers. So I was like, I need a subscription service. And I went out there and I tried to find one that I really felt like fit my style, but I couldn't really find a good brand, and I did a bit more digging and I found that a lot of those brands were actually owned by men, which for me, I felt like this is exactly why I can't find what I wanted. I thought, you know what, I will actually just make my own. And, I went out, bought some flowers, started putting bouquets together, and it all started from there.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And can I also just say that the flowers I've got from Feyi are the nicest flowers I've ever had in my life. And I feel like I get quite a lot of flowers in my like line of work, as in it's just something that
that means a lot.
Honestly, every single person who came around to my house, not only did they last weeks as well, but like every single person who came around during that time was like, where are these from? Like, these are gorgeous.
Amazing. I'm so happy. Yeah, we put a lot of effort into our bouquets, and, for everyone, we want to make sure that it's the best bouquet that you receive, and we want to make sure that it fits with every woman's style. So, yeah, that's what we do.
Well, you've done it very well.
Thank you.
And where did you start when it came to doing the social and kind of branding content for Feyi? Like, obviously that wasn't necessarily what you were doing before. You were doing something creative, but this is kind of starting that from scratch was very new. How did you How did you even start?
So I've always had a passion for design and content. Like before TV, I used to work in social. I've worked for many startups where you've kind of had to do it all. So it was a really exciting time for me to actually launch something myself. The logo that you see is actually created by me.
Love
We
that.
don't have a designer, so I actually design everything. I use Adobe, lots of Adobe products, Adobe Express to actually create a lot of our branding that you see, all our wraps, all designed by me. So yeah, it's really exciting to like put yourself into something that you've never done before and like see people actually love it.
And do you remember the first piece of social content that you did for Feyi?
I think it would probably be me in my back garden, just putting some bouquets together, wrapping it, and then posting it to about 2 or 3 people, which was like my sister and like 2 of my best friends.
I love that. I love that. Sharing the journey. Feyi as a brand has such a distinctive aesthetic. How did you establish that in the first place?
So yeah, the aesthetic is kind of the most important part of our branding and everything that we do. So I got a lot of inspiration from like the 60s and the 70s and how, you know, the floral markets would wrap bouquets back in the day. I really loved that feel and I wanted to modernize it. So that's why you see that we do have our newsprint wrap, but then we've got like lots of variations, but it's all wrapped in paper. And I think that really brings like a fresh new game to the floral market.
What would you say has been your strategy for standing out in such a competitive market?
I would say community. So in terms of everything that we do, we put the community at the heart of it. So we share our journey like every step of the way. We also work and partner with quite a few brands that we feel like have the same focus as we do. And I think that really establishes us within that industry as like we've got our brand identity. You know, we're not just a floral brand. We did a pop-up like last week. So for our audience, we had like queues going down the street. So we just really want to make sure that we're bringing people along that journey. And I think that's quite rare within floristry, you know. People kind of see florists as like an add-on to something rather than an entire brand. And that's what we're trying to change for women.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think that when, like, there are loads of saturated markets, but there is always space for people who stand out and that kind of signature, just distinctive look or feel about a brand. And I think that's something that you have done incredibly well. And I can very clearly see, like, the second you go on your Instagram or your site or whatever it might be, like, it's very clear what the aesthetic is. It's very clear what you're offering, which I feel makes such a big difference when it comes to actually standing out.
Absolutely. And I think self-care is also like really a huge thing that we want to like emphasize in everything that we do. So with all our florals, we're actually encouraging women to buy for themselves rather than actually buy for others. So I think that's quite a key USP that we have.
Obviously, as a founder, running every single aspect of your business, from sales to operations to marketing, takes up a lot of time and means you need to become an expert in lots of different things. What would you say the tasks were that took up most of your time at the beginning, and how have you streamlined them?
It would have to be designing. Obviously, we've spoken about it previously, but designing our wraps, because I'm obviously like a new designer, it was really, really hard. But using Adobe Express has been a game changer for me. I was able to just transition and move in all our assets into that app and just create lots and lots of wraps. We're also going to be launching our personalized wraps as well, which is amazing. So I've been using Adobe Express to create all the new designs that people are super excited for because it's a huge demand.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. And also, I can imagine with personalization, that can be pretty time intensive when it comes to actually creating that for a business. So being able to do that without each order adding on a whole day's work for someone, I can imagine there's the difference between the product being able to be made and not being able to be made.
Exactly. So with Adobe Express, we easily just drag and drop in the images and it's like super easy. So we're training all staff right now just before we launch and everybody's like getting the hang of it.
I love that. That's so good. That's such a good concept and such a good way to make it special for the customer, but also be able to not like, I find so many things within business are like, that would be such a lovely thing to do, but I just don't think we can make it work. And actually that sounds like,
But the girls are happy. They've seen Adobe Express and they're like, whoop, this is going to be easy. We can make this happen.
Officially
a designer.
At first. And how important would you say that authenticity is in branding? And how would you say tools like Adobe Express can help entrepreneurs create content that really, truly reflects their vision and their values?
So authenticity is super important to us. As you know, we wrap every single one of our bouquets. You'll never find a bare bouquet on Feyi. So using Adobe Express, we're able to create those unique designs. And for me, it's super hard as a founder doing it all. So being able to have a team that can use Adobe Express on the go has been so efficient and just streamlined everything for us.
So a huge moment for you and the brand was when you spoke about a business that was allegedly copying your work. Could you tell me in your words kind of what happened and what encouraged you so boldly to speak up about it?
To summarize, there was a UK founder that had been following my journey, following us on Instagram. He had also purchased from us previously. He then launched kind of a floral brand with one of our identical prints, which is our newsprint, and it's quite popular. I was quite defeated by that because obviously they've got a much bigger audience than we do. And, I had no other choice kind of to share it with our audience because we kind of share everything with them. So I just made one TikTok video, and I think that was a turning point for us within our business where a lot of our audience actually kind of geared and behind us and shared the content and got us noticed by lots of incredible people, and we've been able to grow our audience since then.
And what encouraged you? I guess it can be a little bit terrifying in such a big industry where there are, people who've done X, Y, Z before. How did you get the confidence, I guess, to really stand up for yourself in that situation?
I'll be really honest, I'm really used to being behind the camera and not in front of the camera. And I was pushed heavily by my friends and family to share that content online. And I thought, you know what, it's about time I actually stood up for myself, and I did it. It was really scary and frightening, but I just had to share, and I didn't expect that it would do anything. I just wanted to share it with our audience.
Yeah. And that moment obviously put you in front of some really big names. Stormzy even shared the content and I believe started sending flowers to people.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And I guess my question is, what would your advice be to a founder that's in a similar situation to you?
I would say just being brave, be brave, share that content. Because you just never know who's watching, and that's what happened with me. I was terrified to share, but I did it. And I think it's really important to bring your audience along with your journey. It might not always result in anything, but it's really important to share, whether the goods and the bads.
Mm. And when it comes to growing the business, what would you say your first key hires were?
Florists. And I'm still hiring florists.
Makes total sense.
I think because with our style of like bouquet making, we kind of focus on forward-facing bouquets, which is really untraditional. So within floristry, there's a lot of round bouquets, whereas ours are forward-facing, and it's really hard to find a florist that has that experience. So till this day, we're still hiring, but we've now got an incredible team. We're still a really small team, but we've been able to get a good team of florists that really understand the style and like can bring my vision to life.
You're so I hadn't even thought about that, but I really like a forward-facing bouquet now, I realise, because I think like in my kitchen, usually you put it against like a wall or something. Like, of course you can put it on the island, but putting it against a wall, I feel like it doesn't necessarily like clutter the space, but it still looks gorgeous and all of that. And that's such a good differentiator that I feel like people don't necessarily know about. Have you talked about that online in terms of the difference between the two?
No, I don't think I have. I should. Yeah, it's very clean, and I think that's what people love about it.
Yeah, and I think even one thing I find with founders is like when a founder has a specific passion for one thing, there will be other people of that out there who, like me, for example, here, I didn't even know that was the case. And I find that a lot with Tala, for example. I don't know why, I might be speaking about a specific thing to do with a vest, and I'm like, I need this in a vest. Yeah. And I think when people are passionate about something, you can make other people passionate about it, even if they didn't quite realise they were passionate about it. No, definitely share that, because that makes so much sense. And the majority of people don't have like big kitchen islands with loads of space to put, this enormous bouquet on that's like,
it just makes you
exactly,
feel good.
Or like in the hallway or something like that. It makes such a difference. Forward-facing bouquets.
This is why I'd be the perfect investor.
So true. I like your pitch. And what would you say if you could talk to yourself at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey?
I would say, it's going to be hard. You're going to have to go through a few things and you're going to have hurdles, but it's going to be worth the journey, and that's entrepreneurship. So I'm still going through it now. There's lots of ups, there's lots of downs, but it's so rewarding.
Yeah, no, I think that's so true. And it's very clear as well, like watching your journey, that perhaps a lot of the toughest times have been some of the biggest turning points for their business and just
Yeah.
being able to like really push through and trust in your idea and trust in who you are. It, you know, seems like it's really paid off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. This is amazing.